Hi, happy Sunday, my friends. We are going to be doing a live interview with Stefanie Kleinburd, who's a women's health coach and one of my best friends. She is based out of New York, but I met Stefanie when I was living in Buenos Aires. We worked together, and I got the opportunity, had the fantastic opportunity of getting to work through her Healthy Hormones program for women while we were just becoming new moms. I had just had Oli about 6 or 7 months prior, and I was doing personal training for Stef, and she was working with me, coaching me through her Healthy Hormones program, and it was transformational. So I'm really excited for you to get to meet Stef, see her. We're gonna hopefully, I think she's just popping on, so we're gonna share the screen. If I can try and, here we go. If I can invite her. And see if this works. So hold tight while we do the tech stuff. Yay, it's working. Hi, Stef. How are you?
I'm great. And I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And I'm glad I can hear you fine. Everything sounds like it's working this time. So
Excellent.
yay.
Yeah.
So I was just, while I was waiting for you to pop on, I was just kind of going over how I met you and how we were working together in Buenos Aires. So I gave a little bit of introduction, just explain that you're a health coach, but didn't get in that works with women through your Healthy Hormones program. But would love to, of course, maybe hear more from you. I wonder if there's a way that I can highlight you more and make you bigger, but I don't think I can.
Okay. That's more than fine. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and also thank you for the introduction in your newsletter. You know that I'm on your newsletter list and was really touched by your introduction there, and also loved one of the things that you mentioned there, that even coaches need coaches. Um, I also want to thank you for how you've influenced my life, really helped fill in the gaps with exercise. I was pretty convinced that I wouldn't be able to find a way of exercising that worked for me and my hormones after burning out. So you've also been such a huge support for me and inspiration. So thank you,
You're
Carolyn.
welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so that kind of gets to a little bit of my story. So in my early 20s, I was following all of the health advice that I was, reading, hearing around me. And I was, working out every day. I was eating a low-fat diet, kind of doing it all right, except at some point I just woke up to the fact that, something might not be right with my health after all, as healthy as I'm being, because I'm not getting my period every month. And so at that point, besides not getting my period, I was also just like really tired. I was moody. I had digestive issues. So I was like, okay, I'm doing everything that I should be doing, following all this advice, but at the same time, I'm actually really not feeling healthy. And so from there, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said to me that I probably would never get my period back, that I put my body into an early menopause. And she said, you could get on birth control, which just didn't feel right for me. And I'm not saying that it's not right for everybody, but for me, it just didn't feel like the path that I wanted to go down. And so I set out to really find what I needed to get my hormones back in balance. And that probably, I should probably add in that it didn't happen overnight. I spent a lot of time after that appointment just kind of sulking, and like, how could this be happening to me? Why do I have to, now do this? It's like a big project that I got to figure out my hormones. Or maybe I could just forget it's even happening. So I'd bounce back and forth between just like, oh, why is this happening? And then also like, I'm going to pretend that it's not happening and see if, things will just magically get better, but they didn't. So eventually I started to see some alternative doctors and just really did this big overhaul of my diet and my lifestyle and my beliefs. And then enrolled in Institute for Integrative Nutrition and started working in women's health coaching, and here I am. So, yeah, just a little background there. And I think that, yeah.
No, I love your story, and I've heard it before, but I always kind of hear a little different part, and it just I can't like it really hit me when you said like that your doctor said you were never gonna get your period again, and that you're like in early menopause, and just like whoa, just the weight of that as a woman in her 20s to hear that it would have just I just felt the heaviness of that. So
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, and just the transformation that you went through yourself, and that I know so many of the clients that you've worked with, either personally or through the online space, and just the transformations they've had. I want to refer everyone to you if they have like any of my female friends. I'm just like, go see Steph. Like, you need to talk to her. You need to be on her list. Like, learn from her, be in her presence. Go through your course, work one-on-one with her, whatever it takes. And I'm so excited. One of my best friends is going to start soon working with you, and
Yes.
it's
Thank you.
so
I
fun. So,
really appreciate it so much. You're so, yeah, just gracious and generous and always shouting out my work, and I appreciate it. I really do.
it comes from the heart. I felt like I had such a personal transformation, just a new way of seeing food as a way of like really nourishing myself. And then you really helped me to shift my focus on with exercise and looking at the cyclical nature of exercise, and matching it more with my cycle
Yeah.
and honoring those times to really need to rest. So that really has emphasized my own work motto is like work hard, rest well, and that really came, I think, from the time that we worked together. So
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I am just really happy to have a resource too that I could send women to and go like, okay, this is good for their body. This is good for their hormones. Yeah, I love that it works both ways.
well,
Um,
I know
uh,
we could keep chatting for
yeah,
hours.
yeah, we
So
can.
let's jump into. I know you have three things you
Yeah,
really wanted to share
yeah.
related to nutrition and women's health,
Hmm.
hormonal health. So take it away. And if anyone's watching, I know Juanita, I saw you pop on, and some other people have been popping on. So if you have any questions, though, put them in the comments. I don't want this to go super long, but hopefully we'll have some time at the end that we can maybe answer some questions from Steph or for me, and shoot those in there, and we'll take those later. But I want to let Steph have the floor, even though my face is featured. I'm like, I want to feature Steph. There she is.
No, that's great. Yeah, well, I think just sharing that gets to the first point that I want to make, that nutrition doesn't necessarily equal nutrition for women or nutrition for healthy hormones, to put it another way. That the health, like we are, there's health advice all over the place. We're hearing things, reading things online, hearing them on the news, reading them in magazines, on blogs from our friends. And just because you read it somewhere doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, or be the best thing for your hormones. Um,
Amen.
yeah. So look through it through your own lens. Just one thing, there's this great TED video out there that I love, TED Talk, on just like medical studies and how they exclude women from most medical studies. And I think I think that same thing is happening in nutrition, where a lot of the advice out there is kind of general advice, probably better for a body that's not in their reproductive years. Women's bodies are beautiful in their own ways and have, their gift of being able to give life, not saying that you should. And that does affect your body and your nutritional needs and how your body experiences different things. So one thing that comes up, just to give you a few examples of that. So for a while there was this, big craze about eating low fat, eating, less calories. Um, and of course, that might work for kind of, quick weight loss, things like that, but at what cost? So for us women, in our reproductive years, our bodies know that it has this ability to nourish, create and nourish life. And so, for one, being on a low fat diet, our hormones, fats are actually the building blocks of hormones, especially saturated fats, which we've been like told to, steer clear of altogether. Low calorie can also be a huge stressor on a woman's body. So women, when they're not getting enough food, calories, They go into, when we're in starvation mode, we haven't met our needs for nutrition. That creates a huge stress on our body, on the adrenal glands specifically, and on the adrenal hormones, and that could really affect our other hormones. So, low calorie and even intermittent fasting that's popular now. I think as women, we really need to be careful about that stuff because our body will perceive that lack of food and nutrition that it needs as a stress. And anytime there's excess stress, excess cortisol, right? There's so many different hormones, but stress hormones, when they're high, they will start to affect our reproductive hormones, our hunger hormones, all the different hormones. So we want to be careful about that. And even now, the kind of the newer trend of high fat, low carb, that too can be a stress on the body, on the adrenal glands. And, again, like adrenal glands, if they're not working, the thyroid can go off balance. And so I have a client who recently came from me and she had been doing keto for 6 months. And all of a sudden, all these thyroid issues started popping up. And she has, low thyroid. Her panels are showing low thyroid. She has really severe bloating. This is one of the effects of thyroid, not working as well as it should. So just to be really, really kind of paint this picture that we need to find what's going to work for us just because it's out there, online that we should be following a certain way. It doesn't mean it's necessarily what's good for us, and just beware in general of any extremes, I think is kind of important. So that would be the first point. And I think just getting in there. So as I mentioned, this client who has like severe bloating, also cravings, when I learned to finally eat for my hormones, eat in a way that worked for my body and kept my hormones balanced, I mean, the shift of how I felt was almost immediate, especially around cravings. And you could probably relate to this, Carolyn. Like, if you eat that meal that isn't, as balanced as you would like it, or just isn't good, doesn't work well for your blood sugar, you'll feel it. Like, you'll feel the cravings, you'll feel the energy slump. So it's pretty amazing how the shifts of learning to eat for your body, your metabolism, and your hormones can really feel good so quickly. And even to that end, that hormones, I always like to say, like, take a little bit off yourself. So often I feel like we get in these ruts of like, oh my gosh, I have these cravings, or I have such, I have little willpower and all of that. And there's so much involved with our hormones. And so I just want to tell anybody who's listening that feels like kind of hopeless or just beating themselves up, like I'm always going to be this way and why am I like this, and all of that, that your hormones have a big role in how you feel, even things like cravings and feeling bloated or feeling exhausted. And maybe it's just more about how you figuring out your hormones and what they need rather than thinking that you've got to be like that forever. So it's not your fault. It just requires mindfulness around your hormones and to give them what they need.
Yeah, no, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I just want to emphasize how I love that. Taking a bit of that pressure, that shame that we can take on as women of like not having it all together, having these cravings, being moody, having all these things. And yes, it's ultimately our responsibility how we bring ourselves into the world and how we maybe manage our hormones, but it's just, it creates more awareness. Like, okay, how can I work with them rather than against them so that I can minimize some of those negative effects and instead of feeling like it's all on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the second point that I want to make, so there's really no one magic pill, one magic food, as much as we all wish there were, that is going to get your hormones in balance by any means. But if there were one food group that I would have to say, like, you want to emphasize more in your diet for your hormones, I would say it's cruciferous vegetables. So cruciferous vegetables just help metabolize estrogen. And again, like, there are many different hormones, and depending on your symptoms, it could be different hormones that are, off balance. But as a whole, just taking into account, kind of the majority of symptoms that women come to me having, and also just the fact that we're exposed to so many estrogenic chemicals right now all around us, I would say really being mindful about our estrogen levels, or, eating in a way that's going to keep them in check would probably be one of the most important things that I think all of us can do and benefit from. And so cruciferous vegetables help do that. They help metabolize estrogen so that our levels don't skyrocket. And then things like PMS, again, also bloating, heavy periods, painful periods, um, insomnia, things like that really can. Also, weight gain or not being able to lose weight, things like that start to affect us. And so, cruciferous vegetables, I love it. I know you show recipes with them all the time and pictures with them all the time, but just in case for anybody listening, that's anything from broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, turnips, even radishes. Watercress, arugula, so some of your leafy green mixes and stuff like that. I kind of like it because I feel like you can easily get a handful or so in each of your meals, right? I usually do sauerkraut or broccoli sprouts with breakfast. I'll do, arugula salad mix at lunch, and then at dinner, any of those, kind of steamed or roasted broccoli, cauliflower, things like that. So try to aim at least to get a serving of them in at 2 meals a day, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. For a second, I thought you were going to say leafy greens before.
Yeah, I know. Leafy greens are definitely a really close runner-up. And I was like, I kind of do two. Can I do 2 food groups and do cruciferous and green leafies? And I was like, let me, keep it streamlined. But yeah,
I love that. And I didn't
awesome.
I'm really into radishes right now, and I
Great.
didn't realize that those are considered cruciferous as well.
Yep. Me too, actually. Cool. I just bought a really long daikon radish today at Whole Foods, and I just grate that over my salads. I really like it like that. And I'm also going to try out, so I've shared before this kohlrabi recipe, and I could share it in the comments too, but they didn't have kohlrabi at Whole Foods, so I'm going to do the same recipe. It's just like a slaw using that daikon radish. It's really similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is bok choy cruciferous as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought so, but cool. I have a question for you. I don't think I've ever asked this in relation to cruciferous. So one way that I feel like I'm cheating to get the cruciferous vegetables in almost, is putting about 1/3 of a cup of frozen cauliflower or cauliflower rice into my smoothie. What do you think of like raw or those kinds of forms of?
Yeah, actually, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, I think that we shouldn't overdo it on the raw cruciferous vegetables. So I think frozen is probably like a close runner-up to, or one of the best ways to get it actually, because it's preserved right then and there, frozen with its nutrients in. So the thing about raw cruciferous is that they do have goitrogens in it, which can actually hurt the thyroid and the thyroid hormones. So as a general rule of thumb, we actually don't want to get all of our cruciferous vegetables in raw by any means. I would say for someone who doesn't have thyroid issues, a serving a day raw. And if you do have thyroid issues, then really like 1 serving raw, maybe 3 times a week. And the rest steamed is the best by far. It's going to, just really keep the nutrients best, preserve the nutrients best. So I use my pressure cooker mostly for my cruciferous vegetables, and my raw serving is usually my salad at lunch.
Okay, cool. And I think I should know this, but isn't for frozen, do they flash steam it or something? I'm assuming because before they freeze it.
Yeah, so that's perfect.
Cool. Nice. I like that. Then people have some practical ways maybe to put those in. And maybe, I know Juanita, you're still on, I think. If you have any ideas for how do you get in cruciferous vegetables, I'd love to hear that in the comments. And just if you have any tips for other ways to get it in. So I'm glad to hear that arugula is as well. That's good because I can definitely easily get that in.
Yeah, and watercress is a fun green too to get into your salads. And I saw it today in Whole Foods. They do like a pack of it, which is, great. Just switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
So then the third thing that I would say is don't stress it. And I love it because I know you and I really feel this way so much and share so much of the same feelings around nutrition and wanting to be mindful about it, but not wanting to be extreme about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of think about it like on this continuum of, there's this place of not knowing much about nutrition and what to eat and also not doing much about it. And then there's this place of like knowing, so you read a lot, but you don't really implement a lot. And then there's this place where you know a lot and you do a lot. And in that place, right, which is where I want to get women,
Mm-hmm.
knowing and doing, there's this really fine line between knowing and kind of mindfully and in this gentle way, like embracing it and doing it, and then knowing it and like being a perfectionist about it, really extreme, stressing about it, isolating yourself over it. And so I really love to get women in a place where it's, doing it, embracing it, being gentle about it, allowing for some moderation so that it feels really, really, really good, that you love what you're eating pretty much all of the time. And
Yes.
I think it really matters, not just because it feels better, but it is also better for our hormones too. Because again, um, you know, trying to be like perfect all of the time or skipping things that we love also has an effect on our physiology, and our hormones. And again, really gets that adrenal gland involved and activated and the stress hormones up, which throws off our other hormones. And so I really, really love to just always remind women like you don't have to have it perfect. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to, prepare every single meal and never go out with your friends again, or you can't have your, few bites of your favorite cake. Um, or yeah, never have a few bites of Carolyn's cake. That'd be pretty devastating and also devastating for your hormones too. So I really do believe it's about, finding that spot for you that feels good. Yeah, and eating in that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% with you on that, and that's why I just love to collaborate on this stuff related to nutrition because that's like one of my things is like love how you eat, love the way you eat. Like you have to love it. I mean, it's a consistency tool too. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're not going to stick with our way of eating, our diet, if you want to call it that, without loving it, without really enjoying it. So
Yeah.
finding those ways to be mindful, yeah, to incorporate things that are going to help us feel our best, but without feeling like we're, yeah, like you said, isolating or bringing on a lot of that stress that's going to cause more more
Yeah.
problems for our health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt
against that.
awesome. Thank you. So let's just
You're welcome.
quickly recap in case anyone's popped
Yeah.
on since we were starting and maybe missed the first one. So if you could just recap what
Sure.
the
Yeah.
like bullet
Yeah.
points were, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
So really kind of when you're looking at health advice, look at it through your own lens of I'm a woman, and this is what is going on in my life right now. This is what my body needs. Don't just think that if it's written on a blog that you love or it worked for your friend it will necessarily work for you. It's really about finding out what works for your body, and for your hormones. And then the second point would be, okay, if we want to think about one food group that would be helpful, and one of many, right, nutrition tips that I could share, really emphasize those cruciferous vegetables, mainly getting them steamed or lightly cooked, and some, bits of them raw. And again, those are broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, turnips, cabbage, kohlrabi, um, watercress, arugula, and there are more. Those are probably the main ones that come to mind right now. And then lastly, don't stress it. Find your sweet spot that you are being really mindful, putting into action what you know about eating healthy, but also not stressing it, because stress matters too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Steph.
Mm,
Yeah, I just love those tips as good reminders for me too. So thank you.
good.
I
Yeah,
know
you're
that'll be helpful for the ladies who are going to watch this later on as well. So grateful for you.
welcome.
And want to just ask you, like, how can people connect with you? what are something, I know I want to make sure we highlight what you have going on right now. That's super exciting, but maybe maybe you can share, and I can make sure to include in the comments too, how people can connect with you.
Yeah, so I'm on, Instagram and Facebook, social media at Steffi Kleinburd, and it's with an F, so Steffi Kleinburd, Kleinburd. And I also have a website, stephaniekleinburd.com, again with an F. And yeah, right now I'm so I've been working through what I call the Healthy Hormones Program. It's a protocol that helps change your diet and your lifestyle to balance your hormones. And I've been working one-on-one with women, and I got to work with Carolyn one-on-one that way for a few years now. And for the first time now, I'm offering it as a group, in a group program, and I'm quite excited about it. Our group is kicking off on this Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be following the same protocol, hormone balancing protocol, so really teaching women how to get clear about what they need in terms of food. So like really specifics about every meal and what you want to have on your plate, what works for you, your hormones. Then getting into the strategy of it. So, what needs to happen in order to get that food on your plate. So the implementation. Then we'll also be doing some lifestyle stuff. So taking a really close look at your lifestyle and trying to eliminate some of the unnecessary stress. And then also build in restorative activities into your lifestyle. The hormones really need that time to recuperate. Then getting into some detoxifying stuff. So again, on that theme of making sure estrogen levels are in check, how can we reduce our exposure to chemicals around us that are increasing our estrogen? And then how can we really make sure we're incorporating enough of the detoxifying foods into our diet so that you can make sure your estrogen levels stay in the right spot for you so that you can feel your best. And then we'll be getting into some more cycle stuff. So you were just in the Know Your Cycle challenge. The challenge that I do all about the menstrual cycle. And we'll be getting more into that and just really specifics on, what to do during your period, what products to use. Linking up with the moon, exercise will also be an important component of that. So how to change your exercise throughout the month to align with your menstrual cycle. And I'm always really glad that I can point women to you. And then we'll also be covering beliefs. It's actually the first thing that we start with in the program. It's just like, well, what are your mindset? What are, your beliefs around being able to be your healthiest self, being and staying committed to doing, new habits in your health and things like that. So, so really touching on beliefs, food, and your lifestyle, and all together as a group. And we've got a great group so far, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're from all over the world, right?
Yep. Yeah, I work with women all over, for sure. As you mentioned.
Just in case anyone's worried, that they might not be able to participate, but
Nope, not at all. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern, so really the only limit there is what time it is in your time zone, but otherwise, if that time works for you, then you can join us from anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just am so excited for you with this program because I love the one-on-one coaching, and I know that having the group aspect though will just take it to another level. That the women that are going to be in this group are just going to create such an amazing tribe together that it's like, yes, like this is exactly what the Healthy Hormones program is meant for too. I think it's just having that sisterhood of women to go through it together is exciting. I'm like, I wish I could do it again. I want to be like, and just sign up for me to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, we experienced that in your group and the Magic Makers. So I'm also a part of Carolyn's Magic Makers group. It's a real huge support in staying on track with my exercise goals. And it's amazing the feeling that we've gotten that group, that community got your back type of feeling is amazing. And I enjoyed it a lot too in the Know Your Cycle Challenge, and I'm looking forward to it here as well. So yeah, there's something about women in numbers, which we know. Yeah.
And I just really I know that you are so committed to nurturing others and nurturing women, and will create such an amazing space that even though it's online, it will feel so warm and so safe, and really create that community. Even though, I mean, I don't say even though, I mean, because I feel like, yeah, exactly, like with the Magic Makers and with your challenge and with the challenges that I've done, even though they're online, it's amazing how just connected you can really feel with other people around the world.
Yeah.
And I know that it'll be just an amazing sacred circle that's connecting people through the interwebs. So I just want to share with you guys, like, I'm not affiliated, I'm not getting a kickback for promoting this. It's just like out of my genuine love of the program, out of my love for Stef and my belief in how much she can help women. And I'm so excited about it that I want to offer you guys, if you are watching this and you want to sign up last minute, like this is the last chance, right? What's the last chance they can sign up, Stef? When's the cutoff? When's the official cutoff?
Definitely Monday, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. There are details that I want you to have so that you're all set for Tuesday. So Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern.
12 noon? 12 p.m. noon?
Yeah.
Okay, you heard it, you guys. You got less than 24 hours, but if you sign up before 12 noon Eastern on Monday, the, 19th, as my gift to you, mention that you watched this training or this interview, and mention that, and I will give you a free month to the Body Banner Fit Club. So when you get to that portion in Stef's hormonal, Healthy Hormones program, you're going to be able to have access to workouts, a whole archive of
amazing.
There's like tons in there now. And I keep adding new ones each month. So you're going to have access to tons of workouts and yoga videos that are going to be appropriate for wherever you are at in your cycle. So you'd have access to that for free as my thank you. And as just I believe in this shout out to Stef and to you watching. So as a thank you for watching this. So make sure you grab that though before 12 noon, Monday, March 19th. That's the absolute last cutoff. So you guys get started on Tuesday, right? Tuesday evening?
Yeah, Tuesday evening. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yay. Anything else you want to share? Let me see if there's any other questions on here or anything. I think we're good. Aw, Shireen. Hi, gorgeous ladies. I don't know if you're still on, Shireen, but thank you for that little hi. So thank you so much, Stef. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. So glad.
All right, well,
do a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you, you too, and thank you everyone for watching. I'm gonna be sharing this with my newsletter, and I'm gonna send it to you too as well, Stef, once I can save it. All right, have a good afternoon. Ciao, you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Bye Stef.